All right, people are already joining. Hi, guys.
Oh
Welcome
shit! I didn't even realize we was live already.
to. We went
All right,
live.
right. Well, hello. Welcome in.
Jeez. Um, Thanks, guys. Happy Wednesday with Mark and me. I guess is how we start these. Um, Today, what's going on with you today, Mark?
Oh, let's see. Uh, just writing as normal. Wrote a couple of things in for today. It's been a tough week for me personally. And
Yeah.
trying to you know, get some, take care of some things, and then also kind of maintain that same writing schedule I've been putting in.
Oh, you mean 14-hour days of writing?
You're right. I'm posting 2, 3 times a day, at least every day.
I
I've
like
been forcing myself to back slack off a little bit.
Never. I know. You sent over a really amazing story based on one I posted today, which I thought was like, I'm like, where did that come from? I'm like, did you have that like sitting in your it just in your like to write emails and like are written emails and that it just coincidentally I wrote the same on the same topic and you're like, no, I just wrote this. I'm all, how frick do you write that so quickly? Because it takes me like a week to figure out what I want to say.
I I, I read yours, and I guess I just kind of got inspired and started kind of flowing with it.
Yeah, which brings me to reading about your storm one. I finally got to that one today, which was insane. So if you guys haven't read Mark's one that he posted, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yesterday about the storm, it was insane. Like I think you're a literary genius is what I wrote today.
I think you're insane for calling me a literary genius.
um No, it's just your style of writing is really unique and it's very captivating in a way where it kind of just takes you on this journey where it's like you feel like, well, I wrote today, like you're like I could be like a fly on the wall and just like take it all in. Like you just my point is you make me feel like I'm present in the moment, even
That
if
is
it's like
exactly how I think when I'm writing. Like I really want to try to put as many visuals and those cues to where you really feel like you're there. So that's awesome of you to say that.
yeah,
Well, I'm loving the praise. I guess
you
really,
should.
I wasn't expecting all of the praise there right out the gate, but I'm definitely loving it.
Well, I mean, I think it's good for people who haven't maybe read yours or, yeah, well, haven't read yours yet to understand just right off the bat that, the type of exceptional writer you are and the journey you take us on, which is completely different from how I write because mine is just more or less like, this is how I feel. This is my jam. Like, this is just, more like person to person when yours is more like a poetic approach to painting this picture of, yeah, being present, which I think is really, really special. Um, so, yeah, hey, you're right. You're getting praised right off the bat today. You're welcome.
Well, thank you, truly. Well, I like uh, you put all that praise on me, but you really being humble yourself because, like I told you, from the first thing I read of yours, it sucked me in like a movie plot. So, and I really enjoyed the one you wrote this week. Just posted about walking on eggshells. I thought that was a really good one.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's writing about relatable content. It's which sometimes is kind of hard because it can be personal. Where you
Mm.
write about like things that are going on, like your day to day relationships, whether it's with my husband or my dad or like family or somebody from work and then or friends, and you kind of want to tread lightly because you don't want to blur the lines of like making it too obvious of like
Right,
who you might be speaking about.
right,
And
right.
I think that where this topic came from today was I have a friend who's going through a lot of shit right now and she brought it up to me recently is just about how hard it is to live with someone that you constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells and that you never know what you're going to get from that person when you walk through the door and it's scary as shit and it messes with her psychology so badly that it instilled fear in her and
Mm.
it causes her really bad anxiety. It's put her in a really depressive state. Um, and so sadly, I will say that I was inspired, sadly, by that. But I think it's important because I don't think that a lot of us realize that it's a form of abuse. It's actually emotional abuse,
Absolutely.
and and I think that it's important for people to kind of put that connection together. So I wasn't gonna write this week too. I was all, I have nothing to say, damn it. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. And I like love reading everybody's stories that they share because, they're so they can be, they can trigger something to in a positive,
Right.
negative way that causes you to write from your perspective. And so I think I'm more of a perspective writer is what I'm getting at. Long story short. Or long story long. So anyway, that's where eggshells came from this week for me. So I
Well,
appreciate you.
I mean, I could definitely relate to that one. I lived in that household like that for many years with my ex-wife, and it was every day. And it was funny, so when we first got married, her dad used to always joke with me because I was working with her dad. And he was like, "When you get home, crack open the door and throw your hat inside. And if she throws it back out, then don't go in the house
Yeah.
because she's pissed off." And it was funny at that point, but then it really turned into it was truthful because I never knew what I was walking into every single time. Like it was really like Doctor Jekyll and Hyde. It was you never know what you was going to get into, so you start to walk around those eggshells and you learn those triggers, and then that's whenever the the really vivid things come into play, like the sound of the door locking, and you know what I mean. Like you can listen for those things to your whole house, and that's your little signs of peace where you're trying to hide, and it's like living as a prisoner in your own home. It really is, and that's a
It is so true.
tough way to live. It
That
really
is
is.
a really good way to put it, is living like a prisoner in your own home. I mean, we're all guilty of it too. And I'll share my story in a little bit, but I don't always create the most stable surroundings at times when I'm in a mood, or something happened with work, and it's just triggered my whole day. And and I'm working on the fact of when those things happen and I get triggered and irritated by one other person, to learn how to you know take it in, process it, but not let it destroy your day where it affects the people around you. Because I work from home, and so if something happens in my day, I don't want Andy, my husband, to come home and be like, whoa. I mean, we live in a, small one-bedroom little condo here, and there's not a
Right,
lot of space to have your distance when things go
right,
south.
right.
And the last thing I want to do is have him, or anyone for that fact, to feel like, oh man, she's in her mode. Like, step aside. But damn it, dude, I'm human. I'm female. My hormones go crazy,
Right,
and
right,
it's what
right,
it
right.
is.
And without saying too much, but that does kind of come with every female to a degree. But as a man, you try to learn to navigate those things. But it can get to be too much sometimes, and you don't want when you don't want to go home when you go to the store and then you're finished and getting back in the car and you're like, fuck, I don't want to go home. I wish it would have took an extra 20 minutes at the store just for a little bit longer. Like that's when like it's gone too much. It's too far gone.
Yeah.
Nobody should have to live like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I got inspired from one of my dearest girlfriends here. Like I said, this week she's going through a rut, and and it's not even just like I don't even want to go down the path of like what financial abuse can look like too, because I didn't even know it was a thing until she explained it to me, because she just feels that she's going through that same thing with walking on eggshells, as well as other forms that are taking place. But this isn't really about her. It was inspired by her
Right,
again,
right, right, right.
and I don't want to beat a dead horse with that one. So yeah, that's that's what I got for that part before we share them. Um, you wrote some sick questions this week, in a good way. And I didn't know if we wanted to kind of just cruise through some questions and then go into our stories, or if you just want to start with our stories and go from there.
It's completely up to you. If you have them pulled up, I mean, you can, or I can read. Uh,
Um, well, how about this? How about I read? Because it inspired you to read or write. So I'll start with the writing, and then you go in there, and then we'll just banter some questions and see if any of you guys have questions or comments to make. Like we always love when you join in.
yes, please,
Uh,
absolutely.
it helps take
Anything,
the heat off of Mark and I.
anything we can answer, if you want to answer from a different perspective.
Yeah, and if anything that we say is triggering and in any way negative or positive, please let us know. Mark and I write from our own perspectives and hearts, and it's not to offend anybody by any means. Um,
Say the tough shit.
we just say tough shit. But again, for those of you joining today, could y'all just give me a summary of what y'all doing on these lives? Yeah, good. I was actually just gonna say that on yeah before because I just saw that John and sisters in the Wow Wow just the Wow Words just joined. But yeah, what we were talking about today is what I post every Wednesday. I try to post something new every week, and this week was inspired by walking on eggshells and the feelings that come along with walking on eggshells and breaking free from the cycle of emotional abuse. And with that triggered an inspiration from Mark to add to that, but from the way that Mark writes. So I write from a very my perspective, and more I don't want to take away from Mark in this way, but like in a relatable kind of actual day to day things that can happen. And, Mark, you write very poetically, he makes you feel in the descriptive way that he writes that you're literally living in the story with him. Sorry, somebody hopefully is okay. And that's kind of what we're starting today.
We
So
write about real life shit, just like the ambulance. Real life shit.
Mark is so good. Yes, Anya, yes. I call him a literary genius, and he told me not to do that, but I did it
Oh,
anyway.
you mean it too much now. But go ahead and read yours. I
Okay,
want
cool.
to hear it.
So yeah, titled "Walking on Eggshells: Breaking Free from the Cycle of Emotional Abuse." First off, I started with a question: Who's with me? We've all walked on them, not once or twice, but many times. Not to mention, we have also been the reason someone around us has walked on them as well. And if you are absolutely full of shit if you think otherwise, so be honest with yourself. I tend to do this more often than not. The one causing the eggshell walk of fame, and the one who is walking on top of the eggshell fire. Most of the time, I'm not sure what to say in those moments because my words may not come across the way I want them to, which can lead into a much unwanted argument. So I bottle it up. Real healthy, Tracy. Not sure how to act because my behavior can trigger an emotion that can bring on a full blown storm. You try to be there for people you love because that's what you're supposed to do. You show up and you help where you can. However, the person becomes such a recluse, you don't know how to approach them because one bite and you begin to disintegrate due to their words. I have walked on eggshells many of times, whether it's with my marriage, my work, a friendship, or a family member. No matter who it's with, it's the most uncomfortable feeling ever. For me, it's hard because I want an open line of communication and it should be easy to speak to people you're so close to. But the reality is, it's not always the case. Sometimes I think I could be the absolute worst communicator ever. No matter what I say, I just keep burying myself into a hole. I literally have to tell myself to zip it up and walk away because this isn't getting any better. And you've just stomped all over those eggshells and made it worse. Yes, I know I have things to work on. I am not perfect, but I am owning it. That is well. That is just coming from my perspective and me being real. Anyhow, I had to look up the definition of the phrase walking on eggshells, and it reads to be very careful not to offend or upset someone. Okay, like I have to pause on that one. To be very careful not to offend or upset someone. That's really hard to do when you're in that moment. Like, for me, I have to really, really, really sit there and think about exactly how I'm going to articulate the things that I want to say because I'm so scared that I might offend the person who is already making me feel nervous about even being in their present moment. And for me, as we know, like, I'm a chatty catty, like, I like to talk, like, and I like to talk fast, and I don't really think about the things I'm gonna say, so I kinda cause, like, a hot mess sometimes when I'm in those types of moments. This leads into this is probably why I suck when it comes to being around someone in this frame of mind. I really like to just get to the point with things to resolve whatever the issue is going on and move forward. Therefore, I do not sugarcoat situations, and I tend to be pretty blunt about things with my words. This may make me sound like an inconsiderate person because I should be more mindful of the circumstance and know how to read the room. Instead, my patience wears thin and the old insert of the foot to the mouth takes place. Then I have to take a step back and look at the mess I caused. That could have been, that's not even a word, could have been avoided. Let me correct that. If I would have put forth a little more effort into knowing and understanding the situation better. It's like damage control, cleanup, and aisle, self. I can make all of these little jokes and isms about walking on eggshells, but the reality is the topic's a huge deal. It's a big deal, especially if it is in a constant state between you and this particular person. Whatever it is, it's a form of emotional abuse. Constantly having to be around someone like this can cause depression and anxiety. The fear of never knowing what you're about to walk into, not sure which person you are about to see on the other side of the door, questioning your every moment and gut checking yourself to prepare for what you could potentially prepare. Let me rephrase. Questioning your every movement and gut checking yourself to prepare for what can potentially be a hit against one's self esteem or self worth. It's exhausting and unhealthy. So I like to educate myself and I looked up ways to be better in these weird times. And if you find yourself in this, I don't know where this word came from, eggshella hell of a time moment. I don't know what I was thinking, but it just flew at the moment.
It fits
Moment.
perfect.
I hope these help you too. So, how to handle difficult relationships without losing yourself. And I looked these up and turned them into my own ways. You got to set clear boundaries, define what you will and won't accept, and calmly hold your ground. So I think for these situations, it's kind of like you need to be when somebody is up here, you've got to find your way to like bring yourself down here because when two people are up here, you're going to turn pistols in the air and everybody's going to start seeing red.
Mhm.
It's damaging. So, damage from their reactions, detach from their reactions. Their moods are about them. So you got to protect your energy. And I have to tell myself this all the time. I had this conversation with my husband the other day because he was in a real pissy mood. And I was just simply asking a question. And all of a sudden, the question got flipped on me. And I'm all, whoa, whoa, whoa. I know you're in this place. This does not have to do with me. I get it. But, like, let's not turn the tables here. I was not attacking you. I was simply asking a question. And reversing it on me is really your way of deflecting versus reflecting, and that's not fair to me. And oddly enough, that did not turn into or interesting enough, coolly enough, it did not turn into an argument. He actually took on board what I said because I said it cool, calm, and collectedly.
Right.
Um, Communicate honestly but mindfully. Use I statements to share your feelings without blame. However, there's another layer to this. Coping with rage and walking on eggshells, two totally different things because I was talking about just walking on eggshells up here. This is when somebody's in a rage of a situation. And this is what my friend goes through. And these are just practical tips to protect your peace. So, like I said, the above one is one thing, but walking into a raging situation is much worse because you're about to probably get attacked with words. You can't fuel the fire. In the middle of a rage, don't try to argue, explain, or defend. Back off and let them cool down first. You got to stay calm and be grounded. Try to keep your cool. Your calm energy can sometimes de escalate theirs. So true. Remove yourself if unsafe. If the rage feels threatening or abusive, you got to walk away. Leave the room and always realize you staying there tends to add more fuel to the fire. It took me a while to figure this one out. And I finally figured it out because your presence sometimes in the moment when you are with somebody who is losing their shit and you stay there and they're actually abusing you with their words, one, you're doing nothing for your own self-worth and your self-esteem. And two, you're allowing them to abuse you in that moment, even though they're with them being in that raging state. So sometimes you just being there pisses them off even more because you're like present in that moment where you should not be, if that makes any sense. And you need to leave the room. And I know us women sometimes, and maybe men too, we feel like we
Oh, I'm
can.
bad about that too. Absolutely.
We feel and okay, so each way, we feel like we can fix things or fix the way that somebody feels in the
Yeah.
moment. And sometimes when you're seeing red, there is no fixing anybody. Like
Right.
you need to realize that you're not a therapist. I'm not a therapist. Yes, you want to be there for the person, but when they're in that frame of mind, walking away is the smartest thing you can do. There's more of a chance of you coming back later and then being completely calm and you being able to have a conversation with that person. Next, which is revisit boundaries later. Once the storm has passed and emotions settle, calmly address the situation and reset boundaries. Lastly, therapy, if it is a pattern, if rage is frequent, it's not just moodiness, getting some outside support is going to be necessary for you both. Not easier said than done, but it's the truth. Husband goes to therapy. I was going to therapy and now I'm going back to therapy. Um, Everybody needs therapy. Lastly, my CTA is I know this feels familiar and we can all resonate. Walking on edge in relationships, whether with a partner, family, or friend, bottom line, takes a toll on your self-worth and peace of mind. So, my blog is Let's Get It Unstuck, guys. It's a place where it's, about learning healthier ways to move forward, regaining your self-worth, turning pain into purpose. And it's a place for others to connect and collaborate and work with each other to help each other get through a mess. And if you haven't joined my blog, I would appreciate it. I'm self-promoting it. It's let's get unstuck.blog. And I'll type it in here. And I just appreciate your support if you guys don't mind. I
Yeah, everybody go and sign up at Let's Get
It's
Unstuck
free.
dot blog, or I'm gonna come find you.
But that's my jam. We'll try to read this thread here in a bit because I know a lot's been blopping up and I can't read. Oh my god, and I can't write and apologize because I've got this phone like right up in my face. Um, and that's my jam. That's my story for the week.
I
Anything,
I
Mark?
I loved it. I don't know if I would go back to the definition of walking on eggshells. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that one.
Mm,
What
cool.
was Can you repeat that one again?
Yeah, yeah,
What was the
yeah.
definition?
I was kind of surprised to be honest too, but this came from I think like the Cambridge Book of Dictionary or whatever that, and it posted 7 days ago. So it said to be very careful not to offend or upset someone. I was
But
like,
see, I
this
live my
is,
life like that everywhere I go. That's like the definition of Southern hospitality to me. That's not necessarily walking on eggshells. I mean, that's just how you supposed to live in general.
you know what? That's actually a really good thing to say because you should always be careful not to offend somebody or upset them, no matter
Right.
what state of mind it is. So
Exactly.
I kind of agree with the whole. I thought there was going to be more substance with that one. I thought there was going. Listen, I didn't write it. It came out of the dictionary, and I'm sure we can find some other ones that make more make better sense. But yeah, that's I don't know. Go with
Uh,
yours because you went on a good one today as well once you read this. Oh shit.
Uh, well, shit, I don't even know what I did with that one. I emailed it to you, and I think I lost it. So I was just gonna go back and read the one I wrote about the 3 storms.
I have it here if you want to, but you can write about the 3 storms. I mean, yeah, it's about story time. This one is not about eggshells. Mark, you tell it. It's your story.
So it's a story. It's something that my dad told me once, and it was a little story that he had heard in church at one time, and I don't know why, but it always stuck with me. And it's called "The Only Three Options." My dad once told me a story that he'd heard in church. He said, "Life is all about storms. You're either walking into one, stuck in the middle of one, or crawling your way out of one. That's it. Those are the only three options. No calm seas without dark clouds behind them. No sunshine without the next front rolling in. Storms aren't mistakes, they're guarantees. And if that's true, then the real test isn't whether the storms come, it's who you become when they hit. Entering the storm. The part nobody likes to talk about is the moment before it hits. The air feels wrong. The sky turns a strange color. You feel it in your gut, even if you pretend not to. I felt that too many times. When I was running a dozen jobs after the 2016 flood, I could feel the ground crumbling even as I told myself I was untouchable. I saw the mistakes stacking up. I knew the men I hired weren't all reliable, but the money was flowing and the phones were ringing, so I looked the other way. That was me walking straight into the storm. When Janelle started staying up for days, eyes wide, whispering about shadows that weren't there, I knew. I didn't need a doctor to tell me the weather had changed. I felt the tension in the air every time I stepped through the door. That was another storm forming. And every time I ignored that feeling, the damage doubled. Entering a storm is a chance to brace yourself, but most of us don't. We think denial is protection. We pretend if we don't name it, it can't touch us. That's how people get blindsided. In the middle of it. Hold on one second.
Mhm. Well, he just left me high and dry for a minute here, and it's just me live. I'll try to see if I can read through some of these comments, guys. Thank you so much for being like so involved here. I don't even know where to begin. Anya, yes. Girl, I'd love to follow you too. If I haven't followed you guys, will you message me or let me know if I haven't subscribed? Because I am a huge supporter of, supporting the team here and people who are, all here writing our hearts out. Sorry, I'm gonna push this up because I can't see. John, I'm just going to start reading Mark as I'm battling with cancer. I know you are. You mentioned this to me the other day in a private note. Um, and I believe that you are starting treatment soon. Is that correct? Either way, I mean, you've got your Substack family here. We're all here for you to support you. And you ever need to chat, dude, just please let me know. I don't want you to ever feel like you're doing this alone. We're all praying for you. Thanks, Anya, for writing that. What did you say? I felt this so much. I grew up this way in my home, which made it bleed into my everyday life, among others. Yeah, it's a shitty feeling. It is what it is. It's a shitty feeling, and and like for my friend who I wrote this about, like kind of inspired me by this. Like she's it's every day with her, and then some days it's completely fine, and then within minutes later it's completely not. And all I could ever say to that is if you can and you're in a position to do it, just one of those tips that just came through. It's a matter of just removing yourself from the situation. But I know sometimes it's not always easy and it's not, sometimes people just aren't in a position to do it. Hopefully what we went through in our younger lives helps us get through and um, through where we're at today. And not be the one who also causes people to walk on those eggshells, which again, like I said, I'm guilty as charged at times about that. And I got to self reflect when I put people or if I ever put anybody in that situation. John, you're writing, this is why I don't have any family in my life anymore. It's interesting. Is that because of eggshells? Or I'm not sure where that context came from. But to Anya's part, it's very difficult. Um, Myself, is this post? All right. Yeah, you guys are saying a lot. Is this a post you're reading? I'd love to save it. Yes. Is that for me or was that for Mark? Because I wrote what I wrote. I posted it today. So it is there. And then I know that Mark posted his yesterday. So it's also there if you guys wanted to save it. Set clear boundaries, keep calm, and don't encourage damage. Detach from reactions. Defend your energy. When things are reversed on you, be calm and remind each other the original conversation. That is exactly what I was talking about when I was mentioning my conversation with my husband the other day and how it just kind of flipped and turned. And I feel like that, also is like a form of, a little bit of manipulation where it's trying to take the heat off of yourself and just to put it on someone else, which is really a toxic move. And it's unfair. And thankfully it didn't stir the pot and cause a bigger or cause an argument with us. But I gotta say, I was pretty proud of the fact that I kept calm, like you're mentioning here, and was able to uh, keep the situation cool so we didn't have an issue. I'm so sorry. I have to go. Prayers and blessings to you both and everyone. John, you're in Australia. I didn't realize that. Wait, and everyone on here from John in Australia. Calm energy. Oh, John left. Amazing for sure, but I do find dealing with narcissism makes it more difficult. Oh, girl, Anya. I feel like I'm having this conversation with you, and there's 20 other people on here, but um, dealing with narcissism is a whole nother situation. I have I don't know if you guys have ever for me, I have literally attracted a lot of narcissistic people in my life. And for that, I sometimes look in the mirror and ask myself, like, are you a narcissist? Why do you continue to attract these types of people? And I've looked up the definition. I have self-reflected. Um, but it doesn't line up for me as a person. However, I don't understand why I tend to see those people around me more or that allow those people more in my lives than I should. But I have dated narcissists. I have worked for a narcissist with sociopathic tendencies. And I have, um, yeah, I've dated them and I've worked with them, which it doesn't get any worse than those two situations. Um, So I don't know. Oh, I lost you there. Which is something you've been learning to adjust in your life or into your life are these things that I could also apply there. Um, Dealing with narcissism makes it. You said I love this advice so far. This is amazing for sure, but I do find dealing with narcissism makes it more difficult, which is something I've been learning to adjust in my life. Are these feelings I could also apply there? I would think so. There is no reasoning with a narcissist. We all know that. So, like, once you get into an argument with a narcissist, you are going down a very slippery slope because it's mastermind manipulation. Everything's going to turn on you. They've done nothing wrong. So, one of the tips that I gave today about walking away from a tense situation, that would be one of the times to absolutely take it and just turn around and go the other direction because you're literally getting nowhere because this person you are arguing with is one person who is actually sitting there thinking that they have done nothing wrong. I dated multiple ones, and it was just at this point, my husband is the biggest breath of fresh air because I don't have to deal with a narcissist anymore. But it's a sad and difficult position to be in, and they're clever, and most of the time they're super attractive ones as well, which drives me nuts. And most of the time they're liars. Um, I worked for one for 10 years. So if you guys haven't went to my blog or to my other posts, I wrote about my 10-year relationship with my old boss. She was my mentor. She was a woman-led business, CEO, founder in the big real estate development world here in San Diego, and I put her on the highest pedestal ever. But she was, in the end, one of the biggest narcissistic sociopaths I've ever worked for in my entire life. And anytime she would be telling me something that was untrue, and this is what I was getting at with narcissists and being liars, is just pay attention to their facial expressions, because something is going to trigger you where you're like, you're freaking lying to me. I know you are. Her left eye would always go to the left. And I thought I was crazy at first, and I'm like, "Why does she keep doing that?" But then after the 10-year relationship ended, and then I started having conversations with other people who had worked with her, we all kind of started to laugh about it because we're like, "She freaking was lying." That Anyway, just another way of dealing with narcissists and knowing if they're telling you the truth or not. Just pay attention to the facial expressions. Um, Thank you for subscribing, Anya. Hey, Heather. Oh, girl, I'm sorry. I know I should have sent you the link, but it's on here. Um, Two types of walking on eggshells: respect others and filtering yourself. Amen to that. Dealing with others who are irrational, which makes you become hesitant and feel out every conversation. Your opinion, thoughts, feelings, oh, shoot, have no place and have to be altered to keep the peace. I agree, but I also think that there's got to be some boundary there as well. Um, you should be able to speak up and speak how you feel and speak your mind. And if you can't, it's an unfortunate situation, and my husband, I mean, there's times where I can't because, again, I'm afraid if I say something, it's gonna cause a massive explosion. So I genuinely do believe that there's a time and a place to express how you feel, and that you should, um, just be very mindful of the timing of when that takes place, because, again, if you're gonna be arguing or trying to put your 2 cents in when somebody's seeing red, and when I say seeing red, that means they're so enraged that they actually cannot see anything in front of them, and the color just seems to be this just red, like a blank. I'm not sure if people use that term or not before, but it's a common term here. The wow words: peace is the pace of our breath, thoughts, and actions. Beautifully said. Their bait: if I don't pick it up, I don't have to put it down. Oh, I love that. Yes, that's freaking great. Um, Catherine, welcome. Um, oh, I'm so sorry. You have cancer also, but I just finished 33 radiation treatments in God's hands. This is really amazing to hear. Um, Keep us posted. I want to be a part of your journey. If I have not subscribed to you, please message me after this. Message me now and let me know. I want to be there with you. Nobody should be going through this tough shit in life and tough times in life alone. And you're not alone with your Substack family. But congratulations. One treatment is something. 33, I can't even imagine. Welcome back, Mark. I've just been chatting through with the thread, but I have went through and have acknowledged people's comments. Or
Oh, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I had an unexpected guest, to say the
oh,
least. It was a police officer.
oh, how is he?
Yeah, he's fucking a real dickhead, but whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, apparently he's my new probation officer.
oh,
Uh, yeah, he was.
He was very fucking aggressive.
He really was fucking aggressive. He came in, he fucking pissed at me like right here on the spot. Like,
I showed him the phone. I said, "Look, he's on a live right now." He said, "What's that?" I said, "He's doing a podcast." He said, "I don't give a shit." He said, "Tell him he got to put it on hold." I was like, "Okay."
okay.
so, once again, kids don't fuck up and go to jail, because that's the kind of shit you got to live with. The people show up at your house at 9 o'clock at night and want to piss test you in front of your kids. That's just how the shit goes sometimes.
Oh my God.
Literally, I was scrambling.
And it was like, oh yeah, well you just fell for weed and shit. You can't smoke weed. I got a medical card. Oh well, it don't matter. This is living impaired.
Well, I made sure to go in the room and pick the shit up.
Oh gosh. Well, shit. Let's just hope you
Hey,
can.
we gotta move.
Yeah.
We gotta move like tomorrow back to EBR. Cause they no, like real shit. You think I'm joking? Like I'm moving back to Baton Rouge tomorrow. Like the only fucking reason is because they've been letting me be in EBR. I'm sorry. And look, I'm right here on live, but look, this real life shit that's happening right now. So fuck it. That's why I just turned the video back on. I didn't want to leave y'all hanging like that.
Oh my God. No, welcome back. I'm sorry that happened. That sucks.
I'm gonna go to jail if I stay around this motherfucker. Like that dude was tripping.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are you
like,
good
real
though?
shit. He might still be in the driveway. I don't even want to talk about it, man. Just let it go. I'm scared as fuck.
Do you want to end live?
No, I mean I'm good. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying if you need a breather, let us know.
I mean, fuck. If I get arrested on live one day, shit, at least it'll make for good TV.
No, it's not funny. I'm not laughing with you or at you. Oh my God.
Well, that's a perfect transition into the last part of my story. I can read that real quick.
Yeah, go for it. There you go. You're right.
So, as I was just saying, in the middle of the storm, while I got myself in some shit because of the 2016 flood, I've been there more than once, locked in the dorm with 100 men who didn't care if I made it out alive, sitting in front of a judge with 14 felonies on the table, bleeding in silence because the woman I loved turned a knife on me and I didn't want to call the cops. That's the storm at full roar. And the hardest truth, the storm doesn't pause because you're tired. It doesn't care if you're begging for mercy. It rips at you until you decide whether you'll hold it or let it destroy you. The middle is where you learn what you're made of. Not when the sun's shining, not when your bank account's full or your house is clean. No, you learn in the noise, in the chaos, in the nights when the only prayer you've got left is don't let me die like this. The middle is where you either become steel or you dissolve. Coming out of the other side, people think that once the clouds break, it's peace and clarity. Birds chirping, sun shining, clean start. Well, that's a fucking lie. Coming out of the storm is staggering through wreckage, soaked, shivering, exhausted. Half the things you thought would still be standing are gone. The quiet afterward is not peace, it's eerie. Like the whole world is waiting to see if you survive. I know that quiet. When I walked out of prison on my birthday in 2017, the air didn't taste like freedom. It tasted like ash. Like a man sifting through the remains of a life he burned down himself. When I finally left Janelle, it wasn't triumph, it was a collapse. Christmas morning, my daughter opening presents while the truth settled in that the woman I swore to love had already been taken by a disease neither of us can fight anymore. That's what coming out looks like. Not clean, not pretty, but alive. And alive means you got another shot. You walk out with scars, you walk out with stories, you walk out carrying pieces of yourself you didn't know existed. You walk out having the motherfucking police show up at your house at 9 o'clock at night to piss test you.
I don't think that was in the story I read earlier,
I
but
just had that. But my dad was right. There really are only three places to be in life: entering a storm, standing in the middle of it, or crawling out of the other side. And none of those places last forever because the wheel keeps turning. The clouds always gather again. The question isn't whether the storm will come, it's who you're going to be when it does. Because storms don't just pass through you, they reveal you.
That's so good. So powerful. I mean, I think I wrote it on. No, I didn't think. I know I wrote it twice. Um, like I 100% agree with that whole writing. Is that or the whole writing that you did because there are three phases of the storm. But the one thing I did feel like because it's again literally you're a literary genius. It's so written beautifully, and it really you get it. But the one thing that I'll say is, Lucy, you're going to run into that, is that it also is missing the one factor of the person that you become after the storm. And I think that that's where you're at right now, Mark.
That's definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, I think you are finally in this place where you have been through so much shit and, well, obviously still going through it. And but the person you're changing yourself to be, the person you're turning yourself into is somebody that's completely weathered all of these storms, and you're coming out on the other end and you're becoming this better version of yourself than you've ever been before.
I'm trying to. They make it hard as a motherfucker to do it, though. They really do, because the system is designed to ensure that you don't change, to ensure that it keeps you down and you keep going through the same fucking cycle over and over and over and over again. And that's just proof of it right there. I mean, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, you want to come and kick open my door at 9 o'clock at night like I'm just some, horrible criminal, yet our president is a convicted felon. Of course, I don't want to go down that road, but, you know, just saying.
Oh, there's so many things to be said about that topic. Oh my God. No
I
shit.
don't see them butt kicking in his door, piss testing him at 9 o'clock at night.
No. But I mean, it's
Stop shaking the thing.
and I've heard of that before, and I thought it was just kind of something that was said in the movies. When you're in the system, they make it difficult for you to really start a
Absolutely.
fresh life, and like they it's almost like you're in this cycle,
They
and
make
that's
it the way you can't.
yeah, and that sucks. That sucks because I like seeing you on your day to day and knowing that your 80,000 word manuscript that you wrote and that you're working your ass off to get this published. And I mean, like, if people can't see that side of you, like, I mean, where else do they want you to be in life? Like,
And I'm still in the system, so I'm still looked at as being that convicted felon, that convict, because I'm still going through the same cycle. And it's fucked up because I got arrested in 2016. It was fucking 9 years ago, and I'm still on probation for the shit because I was supposed to get off probation like 3 or 4 years ago, but because I still owe some restitution money, it's like a loophole that they can just leave me on indefinitely and fuck with me indefinitely. And
oh
if
my
I
God.
go and catch a misdemeanor down the street for some road rage or something, I'm going to prison for like the next decade. And it just hangs over my head every moment of my life.
That is so freaking wild.
And I'm not the only one. And the whole system is like that. And it's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really
I
is
mean,
fucked up.
how does that work? Like with restitution, can't you like file bankruptcy? Tell them you have no money.
Yes and no, and that's what they really supposed to do. Is after a while they just to kick you off, and they're like, "All right, fuck it." If they want the money, they just have to come and sue you, which they would never ain't gonna happen anyway because they made the shit up to begin with. But it's just being in that process. I mean, it's almost a decade that I've been in and out of prison and on probation, and having these fucking dudes show up at my house like once a month, every month, like this. Scaring my kids and shit, coming in with fucking flashlights. Like, come on, bro, really?
Oh my God. No, it's absolutely shit. And I don't
I
know,
should have
man.
left the camera on because he started tripping. He's like, "Is the camera on?" Motherfucker, I'd have turned the bitch back on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. So, well,
I'm sorry, that kind of stole the whole lie. My
no.
bad. I mean, I clearly didn't know that was gonna happen.
No, and I was like, "What's going on?" Because I was like, "And Mark just left me high and dry, and now I'm just have to be on here myself, and never did that before." And I'm totally red in the face because I'm blushing at the fact that I'm gonna rewatch this and go, "Oh my God."
Well, you sounded like you was doing a hell of a job because I kept it on full volume while he was in there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, thanks. Can't do it without you, so please don't go to jail. Oh
Oh, they ain't fuck that. They gonna have to kill me. I ain't going back to that motherfucker.
no, no. Well, I was gonna say some question and answer. So, Question for you. Which one do I want to ask? What's one moment where a reader's comment or message hit you harder than expected?
That shit happens to me every day. It's almost every comment that I read. And what you wrote about me earlier, it hits like every single time. It's mind blowing, and and it's funny that really just happened, and not to go back to it again, but I did have it on blaring and shit, and he can hear, and he's like, "What do you do anyway?" I was like, "I'm a writer," and he just looked at me like, "Yeah, fucking right." You know what I mean? Like, so when you or anybody else tells me my words had any kind of meaning to them, then it hits on a whole nother level, obviously,
Yeah, I mean,
because
it's true.
that's been who I am, or has been what's defined me, anyways, for like fuck. More the last decade for sure, but really before that, because I was in the streets before that, and the last 2 decades of my life, it's been like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, well, if you need me to write this probation officer, you just let him know you've got an entire Substack family that needs you, loves you, and we will write our asses off to prove to you that you are on the best next track of your life and getting it straightened up, and you're not the person you were a few years ago or last year or whatever, and even last year, but like you're different. Like again, you've weathered the storm, you've been through the shit. So now you're trying to make yourself the best version of yourself possible. So
That's
they
all
need
you
to
can do.
recognize
That's
people.
really all you can do, and that's the world's a fucked up place, but all you could do is keep on keeping on, man, and that's the hardest part, and that's where most people fail is they get caught up in this system, and then they use that as an excuse, like, oh well, they just gonna keep beating me down and beating me down, and they stay down.
Mm.
Fuck that, you ain't gonna beat me down, and you're not gonna break me. They used to laugh and joke in fucking prison. They put you in the hole like, bitch, we're gonna break you. We're gonna make you sit in there for weeks. We're in the dark, no food, no nothing, don't know what's going on till you break. You're not gonna fucking break me.
I love
It's
that
not
about
gonna
you.
happen. Too
Well,
strong minded. And that's what you gotta be, is strong minded.
um, I can't. I mean, I have there. I've never, knock on wood, I've never even been arrested. That's actually technically not true. I was 16 when I shoplifted. That never happened though. Again, that got taken off my report though because I was only 16. But anyway, not trying to soften the situation here, but yeah, I don't even know how to even relate to that because it's so unrelatable to me.
I know, and
Uh,
that's the, but that's why I write, and that's why I talk about the shit I talk about, because a lot of people don't see that side. They see shit like that in movies, and they go through equally as hard shit, fucked up shit, but just on a whole nother level. And it's not a cliche to say that the system is designed to hold you down and fuck you over and just do it over and over and over again. And that's just how it is. But that's why we got to come together as a community and start holding each other up and raising each other up,
mhm.
because the ones that we put in charge many years ago are only looking out for themselves. And it's time that we start taking care of ourselves and looking out for us. Because at the end of the day, eh, the elites, the uber rich, that's all they worry about is themselves.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah,
got to build our own community. And
yeah.
that's exactly what Substack is to me. It's building a community where we
Building
can
a
uplift
healthy
each
community.
other.
Yeah, it's building a healthy community, and it's and I think that it's Substack for me has turned into my little side, like a side family, and I think sometimes it's interesting. My husband's like, "Are you still on Substack?" And I was all, "Yeah, I'm around my people, like people who make me feel good and people who lift me up." Not that he doesn't, but it's just like
Right, right.
I mean, and you're right. It's a community that it's like no other, and I don't, I don't even know where I'd be without my Substack family today because they mean so much to me, and the stories and the different stories that come out of people, and the few people that we have on here that are the other. I'm a big cancer supporter, so because I've lost so many near and dear to me. So but I love hearing like the stories and the inspirational stories and the triumphs, and but then you have your stories. Like it's such a diverse group, and there's so much to be told. And I don't know. I'm
That's
just
the hardest part. There's like so much shit that I want to read, and so many pieces just like stacking up. It's like there's not enough time in the day to read everybody's stuff, but you just want to read everything.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's happening in a lot of chats. But my point is I love our community. Um, and I do want to ask you a couple more questions.
Please.
So this actually is going to lead into what we were talking about a moment ago. So what's one lesson you want your kids or future kids to carry from your life?
That's a tough one, man. It really is. I would say if I can choose one thing to instill in them, it would be decency and kindness. To always be decent. Always do the the decent thing, the right thing to do, even when it's the hard thing to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was asking me, yesterday or day before, I was, went down the road. It was a car stop. The tire was like the axle had snapped. Dude was just sitting there. When I passed him, he was like an old man. And I was like, damn, clearly looked lost. So I pulled over, walked over. He was like, I don't know what happened. I went blind. I can't see. I don't know what's going on and shit. Like, don't worry about it. So I wound up calling, people and all that, and stood out there with him for like an hour. And by the end of it, he's like, "Oh, I got some stuff for you." He's like giving me Tic Tacs and bottles with the basketball and all this shit because he was so grateful. And then it would just refuse to not let me take it. So I'm putting it in the car, and the girl's like, "Well, what the hell is all of this random Tic Tacs and Tabasco?" I'm like, "Well, the man was just so grateful that I stopped, to sit with him. He was just expressing his gratitude." But and it wasn't a big deal for me to stop for a minute for him, but it clearly was a big deal for him. You know what I mean? So if I can teach that to him, then maybe the world's a slightly better place in the end of the day.
I love that. I mean, I always tell, I don't have children. I have a fur baby. Um, but I have nieces and nephews, and I always tell them, I was like, you need to be kind. You need to be humble. You need to put people, not in a part where it harms you, but you need to put others ahead sometimes, and you need to help, and you just be cool. They're not lessons, but it's just like, but they are. And so I always say, like, be cool, be kind, be humble, because we need more of that.
The world needs more of that.
Yeah. And, and, try to make somebody smile every day. I always like to say that.
It's true.
Like, you need to make somebody smile every day. Um, I'm just
But it
kind of,
all starts with the parents too.
oh,
Because there's a lot of real dickhead children in this world, but for every dickhead kid, it's because they have dickhead parents. And if their dickhead parents would figure their shit out, then their kids would figure it out too. The world would be a better place. So it all starts with us at the end of the day.
absolutely. Comes from the top down. I always say that in anything. Well, we're over our time a little bit, but thanks for that experience. Always an adventure with you.
Yeah, yeah.
God. Yes, Heather, we got to stop being a bunch of dickheads. That's absolutely right, girl. Um,
No, I do too. I'm a dickhead, so I can't lie sometimes.
You know what? We're human. I mean, my God, like if that's why I think that like when I write, it just comes from a place of like, this is me, blah, this is how life is, blah, like, and why I get comments and people, because it's relatable. You're not trying to be something you're not. And I think people really connect with that. You're authentic, both of us.
You're right
But
about that one.
yeah, but thanks guys for joining. I appreciate, and Mark obviously appreciates, and we'll be here next
Absolutely.
Wednesday.
We will be here next Wednesday. Barring it's some kind of legal activity that happens on my behalf, but we'll see.
That was entertaining. I mean, I hate that it happened, but it was entertaining. And please take care of yourself. Make sure that nothing happens to you.
No,
Have a great night, all.
I'm not going nowhere. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Love y'all.
guys. Take care. Bye.